Welcome to Wisdom Trek with Gramps. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, and we are on day 2905 of our trek. The purpose of Wisdom Trek is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, and to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. The title for today's Wisdom Trek is Out of the Dust, Into the Light, the Cry for Divine Direction and Vindication. On our last expedition, on day 2903, we crawled deep into the dark, damp, suffocating isolation of the cave with David in Psalm 142. We listened as he poured out his raw legal complaint before the Lord, feeling entirely abandoned by humanity with hidden snares waiting for him in the shadows. Today, as we advance our base camp along this ancient trail, we step directly into Psalm 143, verses 1 through 12. This is the final of the 7 traditional penitential psalms, and it serves as a profound, sequential continuation of David's journey through intense distress. If Psalm 142 was the sharp, acute panic of being trapped in a cave, Psalm 143 represents the heavy, cumulative exhaustion of a long drawn-out warfare. David is not just running from a temporary threat anymore. His soul is utterly spent, his energy is depleted, and the darkness is threatening to swallow him whole. Yet, as we will see, instead of throwing in the towel, David uses his remaining strength to lift his hands into the cosmic throne room, appealing to the character of the sovereign King of heaven. The first segment is Entering the Supreme Court, Appealing to Covenant Faithfulness. Let us open our ears and hearts to the opening lines of this intense prayer, grouping together the logical thoughts found in verse 1 and verse 2. Hear my prayer, O Lord. Listen to my plea. Answer me, because you are faithful and righteous. Don't put your servant on trial, for no one is innocent before you. David begins this trek with an urgent, deeply humble legal appeal, crying out, Hear my prayer, O Lord. Listen to my plea. Answer me, because you are faithful and righteous. Don't put your servant on trial, for no one is innocent before you. To fully appreciate what is happening here, we must view this through the ancient Israelite divine council worldview. When David enters into prayer, he knows he is stepping directly into the celestial courtroom where Yahweh sits enthroned as the supreme judge, surrounded by his assembly of holy ones. Notice that David does not swagger into this heavenly court, demanding rights based on his own moral perfection. In fact, he does the exact opposite. He submits a preemptive plea, begging, Don't put your servant on trial. Why? Because David possesses the profound cosmic wisdom to realize that in the brilliant, unblemished light of the Creator's holiness, no human being, not even a chosen, anointed king, stands completely innocent on their own merit. Instead of pleading his own righteousness, David brilliantly shifts the entire legal basis of his case to the character of God himself. He demands an answer based entirely on 2 things, God's faithfulness and God's righteousness. In the ancient Near Eastern covenant framework, a king was legally and morally obligated to defend and protect his loyal subjects. David is essentially saying, Lord, I am your covenant servant. I am imperfect, yes, but I am yours. Therefore, I appeal to your own cosmic reputation and your sworn oaths of loyalty to step down from the judge's bench and act as my divine defense attorney. The second segment is The Crushing Darkness, Paralyzed in the Shadow of Death. The narrative takes a very heavy, somber turn as David describes the terrifying operations of his adversary, combining the logical thoughts found in verse 3 and verse 4. My enemy has chased me. He has knocked me to the ground and forces me to live in darkness like those who died long ago. I am losing all hope. I am paralyzed with fear. David exposes his current reality, recounting, My enemy has chased me. He has knocked me to the ground and forces me to live in darkness, like those who died long ago. I am losing all hope. I am paralyzed with fear. The language David utilizes here is intentionally cosmic and deeply evocative of the underworld. When he says his enemy has knocked him to the ground, forcing him to live in deep darkness like those who died long ago, he is drawing a direct parallel between his current psychological state and Sheol the Dark, silent realm of the dead. In the ancient world, Sheol was seen as a place of absolute containment, ruled over by spiritual forces of chaos and decay. David feels as though his human persecutors, backed by the sinister principalities of darkness, have successfully driven him out of the vibrant land of the living and buried him alive in a spiritual tomb. Because of this prolonged, crushing environment, David experiences a profound internal collapse. He confesses, "I am losing all hope. I am paralyzed with fear." In the original language, this means his spirit is completely overwhelmed, and his heart within him is numbed, desolated, and frozen. This is an incredibly important stop on our Wisdom Trek today. It reminds us that even the greatest spiritual giants can reach a point of complete emotional paralysis. The wilderness can get so dark, and the chase can last so long, that our internal resources completely run dry, leaving us numb to the world around us. The third segment is the pivot of remembrance, thirsting for cosmic intervention. Right at the absolute nadir of his depression, when his heart is completely frozen, David makes a conscious, deliberate pivot in his mind, linking his thoughts together in verse 5 and verse 6. "I remember the days of old. I ponder all your great works and think about what you have done. I lift my hands to you in prayer. I thirst for you as parched land thirsts for rain." Faced with a paralyzing present, David forces his mind to look backward, declaring, "I remember the days of old. I ponder all your great works and think about what you have done. I lift my hands to you in prayer. I thirst for you as parched land thirsts for rain." When you are paralyzed with fear and can no longer see a way forward, the wisest thing you can do is look backward at history. David engages 3 distinct mental faculties here. He remembers, he ponders, and he meditates. He actively recalls the days of old, the cosmic history of Israel, the miraculous deliverance from Egypt, the splitting of the Red Sea, and the dramatic overthrow of the rebellious Canaanite kings. By contemplating these great historical works, David reminds his trembling heart that the God he serves is the undisputed master of storm, sea, and human empires. This mental shift completely re-energizes his physical body. He moves from a posture of frozen paralysis to a posture of active, urgent worship, lifting his empty hands into the air. He describes his soul's condition using a striking agricultural metaphor. "I thirst for you as parched land thirsts for rain." In the ancient Near East, a drought was not just an inconvenience. It was a terrifying threat of death and famine, often associated with the cosmic withdrawal of divine favor. David recognizes that he cannot fix his own drought. He stands before the Lord like cracked, dry, sun-baked desert soil, completely dependent on the sovereign windows of heaven opening up to pour out life-giving rain upon his parched soul. The fourth segment is the urgent SOS, pleading for the morning light. The urgency of David's prayer reaches an absolute fever pitch as he strings together a rapid series of imperative petitions, grouping together the thoughts in verse 7, verse 8, and verse 9. "Come quickly, Lord, and answer me, for my depression deepens. Don't turn away from me, or I will die and go down to the grave. Let me hear of your unfailing love each morning, for I am trusting you. Show me where to walk, for I give myself to you. Rescue me from my enemies, Lord. I run to you to hide me." David sends out an urgent spiritual distress signal, crying, "Come quickly, Lord, and answer me, for my depression deepens. Don't turn away from me, or I will die and go down to the grave. Let me hear of your unfailing love each morning, for I am trusting you. Show me where to walk, for I give myself to you. Rescue me from my enemies, Lord. I run to you to hide me." Notice the raw realism of his language. My depression deepens, or as other translations put it, my spirit fails. David is running out of time, and he knows it. He understands that if Yahweh hides his face, if the king turns away from him in the cosmic council, David will slide irretrievably down into the pit, the chaotic abyss of permanent physical and spiritual defeat. But notice what David specifically asks for to counteract this deep midnight of the soul. Let me hear of your unfailing love each morning. In the ancient world, the morning was a time when the sun rose to scatter the terrifying forces of night, and it was also the time when ancient kings would sit at the city gates to dispense true justice. David is begging for a fresh, daily revelation of God's covenant loyalty, his hesed to break through his personal darkness like a glorious sunrise. He follows this with 2 beautifully practical requests that every trekker needs to memorize. Show me where to walk, and rescue me. I run to you to hide me. David recognizes that his vision is clouded by fear, so he completely surrenders his navigation over to the Lord, running directly into the hiding place of the divine presence. The fifth segment is the way of the Spirit, absolute surrender, and ultimate vindication. We now reach the magnificent, triumphant climax of the psalm, where David brings his narrative to a powerful close, combining his final logical thoughts in verse 10, verse 11, and verse 12. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. May your gracious Spirit lead me forward on a firm footing. For the glory of your name, O Lord, preserve my life. Because of your righteousness, bring me out of this distress. In your unfailing love, silence all my enemies and destroy all who afflict me, for I am your servant. David seals his prayer with an unyielding commitment to total discipleship, declaring, Teach me to do your will, for you are my God. May your gracious Spirit lead me forward on a firm footing. For the glory of your name, O Lord, preserve my life. Because of your righteousness, bring me out of this distress. In your unfailing love, silence all my enemies and destroy all who afflict me, for I am your servant. Look at how beautifully his desires have evolved throughout this prayer. He started by asking for simple relief from his pain, but now he is asking for deep transformation. Teach me to do your will. May your gracious Spirit lead me forward on a firm footing. David does not just want to escape the current wilderness. He wants to learn how to walk through it in absolute synchronization with the heart of God. He asks the gracious Spirit, the very active, creative presence of Yahweh that brought order out of the primordial chaos of creation, to lead him on to level ground, out of the slippery, dangerous mud of his current crisis. Finally, David grounds his ultimate deliverance in the highest motivation possible. For the glory of your name, O Lord, preserve my life. He brings the legal argument in the celestial courtroom to a triumphant close. If the forces of chaos and the wicked adversaries destroy the anointed king, it would deface the glory of Yahweh's name among the nations. Therefore, David asked the supreme judge to issue a final, sweeping verdict to silence and destroy the spiritual and human afflictions surrounding him. He rests his case on one final simple title, For I am your servant. By claiming the status of a loyal servant, David hands the entire battle over to his master, confident that the morning light is coming and that his feet will soon stand securely on a firm, unshakable footing. If you found this podcast insightful, please subscribe and leave us a review. Then encourage your friends and family to join us and come along tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. As we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, leave a living legacy. Each day, I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. Join me next time for more daily wisdom.